I actually have a
Yes.
I have a request. I don't know, you could maybe survey the group or if it's possible, but do you think you could move back to the 7 a.m. time now that school started?
Yes, definitely. So next week you prefer 7, right?
Yeah, because 8 is hard with the kids back in school.
Yes, of course, inshallah. Why not?
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
وإياك إن شاء الله. شاء الله. It's 8:06. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أكرم المرسلين. الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. The ayat today is from page 29. ayah 187 to ayah 190 inshallah. Let's listen to the ayat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله آياته للناس لعلهم يتقون ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون يسألونك عن الأهلة قل هي مواقيت للناس والحج وليس البر بأن تأتوا البيوت من ظهورها ولكن البر من اتقى وأتوا البيوت من أبوابها واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون وقاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين.
صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم وإنا على ذلك من الشاهدين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Today, inshallah, in these ayat, there are many legislations. Some of the legislations or ahkam, if we can say in Arabic, it's ahkam, plural, and hukm, singular, which refers to fiqh and a way that Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to perform certain ibadah or how to live. So starting with the first ayah, it is about as-siyam, and here Allah Azza wa Jal is saying uhilla lakum laylat as-siyam. Uhilla, it means it became permissible for you, as if there was something not permissible, something that was haram, and now it is halal to do. Let's see what that is. The night of the fasting, and now here we're talking not about the day of Ramadan, not from Fajr to Maghrib, it is from Maghrib to Fajr. The ahkam here is related to that period of time from Maghrib to Al-Fajr. and Allah is making what is permissible. الرفث إلى نسائكم. And what is the meaning of الرفث? Let me check here. Approach. Let me check what the word it was used here. So it says the intimate relationship between you and your wives. And if we take the word al-rafath, it was also mentioned at the time of al-hajj. Al-rafath it covers many areas. So if we're using this word with talking, then it means the bad talking, like the obscene language. If it's referred to the spouses, then it is referring to the intimate relationship, and it is the very modest and very well said word referring to that intimate relationship. And that is a teaching from Allah to us, that even this halal relationship between spouses, we also not talk about it like frankly. We don't name it frankly. So we don't say certain terms, if I may say it now, just referring to the meaning. And then, of course, we will be using the terms, if we, instead of saying the intercourse, it's the intimate relationship between spouses. So why Allah Azza wa Jal is saying أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ, now it becomes permissible. Was it haram before? Yes. During the day of fasting, it was haram. During the night of fasting, it was haram as well. So during the entire month of Ramadan, it was haram. I want you to pay attention that here in Ramadan, we are refraining from doing halal things because Allah Azza wa Jal said so. So we are refraining from eating, drinking, and now from the intimate relationship. As you see, we refrain from doing all of that, although that is all halal, but Allah made it prohibited during the day of Ramadan, and for many reasons. One of them is self-control, and of course the ayah would conclude the most important reason, which is لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ, so they can build the taqwa and adapt this kind of lifestyle with taqwa. So that is al-rafath. Allah now is saying it is halal. We have to understand that not only the intimate relationship was prohibited during the month of Ramadan, also if a person, like let's say a person approached Maghrib, and one of the Sahaba, actually, because of him, this ayah was revealed. So one of the Sahaba, he used to work really hard during the day, and his job is to take care of the palm trees, clean it, and take care of it. And when it was Maghrib, he was extremely tired. So he drank water. He broke his fast by drinking water. And then he asked his wife, do we have anything to eat? And she said, no. Let me go and check if I can get some food for you. So by the time she went to find some food for him and come back, he fell asleep. The legislation back then, if he slept after Maghrib or after any time before Fajr, if he slept and if he woke up after before Fajr, he is prohibited from eating. So he woke up, and she brought the food and she found him asleep, and she said, oh my God, he's gonna be fasting for the next Maghrib. And that's what happened. So when he woke up a few hours later, he figured out that, okay, he can't eat, because of course that was the hukm. And he continued his day next day because he has to go to work. And a little bit after Zuhr, he fell down and he lost consciousness. So they called Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and told him about this Sahabi. And then this ayah was revealed, just making the ahkam easier on the Sahaba. So among those ahkam that they can eat and drink any time between Maghrib and Isha, also they can be having intimate relationship with their spouses. Then Allah is saying here, look, Allah first is referring to the intimate relationship with this very, very modest, full of adab word, al-rafath, and then another referring here, hunna libasun lakum wa antum libasun lahun. So al-libas is the dress, the cloth that we cover ourselves with it. We cover our awrat with it. So Allah is saying they are cover for you, and you are cover for them. Subhanallah. Allah is referring to that connection by those few words. Hunna libasun lakum wa antum libasun lahun. I would love also to see what is saying here in the your spouses are garment for you as you are for them. So a garment that covers their awrat and also take care of their halal desires. And then alim Allah knew that you were kuntum takhtanuna, and al-takhtanuna is from al-khiyana. Al-khiyana is treason. تختانون أنفسكم. You were like not deceiving yourselves. You were like Allah here again is referring that yes, it was haram, but some of the Sahaba couldn't handle it, so they were having that intimate relationship during the nights of Ramadan. And Allah is telling them, yes, Allah knew that you've been doing that, and that is al-khiyana is that treason to yourself, which is like you're betraying yourself by not fulfilling the ahkam of Allah Azza wa Jal. But Allah said, فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Allah forgave you. Now, and not only to forgive you, وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ, forgiveness and forgetfulness. خلاص, it's deleted from your file. فالآن, and now, باشروهن. Subhanallah, look at this. Another here verb is referring in a very modest way to the intimate relationship. باشروهن. And what is باشروهن? هلا باشر very, you can say proceed. If we want to use it not in the intimate relationship, we can use this word in many things. So bashara, he proceeds. He started again doing something. And if you look at the morphology of the word bashara, it comes from bashara. What is al-bashara? Bashara is the skin. And as if like the skins are touching each other. That is here another referring to that relationship, subhanallah. And وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا. Then Allah Azza wa Jal also allow them to eat. So ابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم, that desire that you want to fulfill, you can fulfill it in the night of Ramadan. And then you can also eat and drink until the white thread حتى يتبين لكم. يتبين it becomes very clear. And what is that? The white thread, al-khayt is either floss or thread. And this khayt here is not like the regular khayt that we're going to see. It is in the sky. You will be able to see it in the sky from certain areas. Of course, because of the tall buildings now, it's difficult sometimes. So that's why, alhamdulillah, we have the adhan. But back then, Sayyidina Bilal, when he used to come up to the on top of the building to say adhan, when he sees the white thread, al-khayt al-abyad min al-khayt al-aswad, as if like there is a difference. On top it is like it's one line, the white starts up and the dark starts down because the night is going away. So min al-fajr. And ثم, so there are this becomes obvious and distinct. Then at that time you stop eating, you stop drinking, and you stop that intimate relationship. And then Allah is saying ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. until Maghrib, and al-layl here means al-Maghrib. وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ. Now again the same word here, باشروهن, but here with negation. وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ, and don't have that intimate relationship. وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. So during Atikaf there is no intimate relationship. تلك حدود الله. Subhanallah, this is after all of this story here and what was haram and it became halal, and Allah put some shurut, conditions, that not during Atikaf, not before Maghrib, not after Fajr. Allah is saying تلك حدود الله. This is the boundaries of Allah Azza wa Jal. فلا تقربوها, do not even come close to it. So when Allah Azza wa Jal is setting something haram, warning us from doing something haram, Allah would use فَلَا تَقْرَبُوهَا, don't come close to it, don't come near to it. But when Allah Azza wa Jal tell us about something halal that we can do, Allah would use different term. Allah would say فَلَا تَعْتَدُوهَا, do not exceed the limits. Allah always is having limits for us and boundaries that we have to abide with it. Otherwise, we would be easily crossing those limits and falling into haram. Sometimes by just doing halal, we might be falling into haram by crossing the boundaries. So Allah Azza wa Jal is saying كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ آيَاتِهِ لِلنَّاسِ. Allah Azza wa Jal is making His verses and His ahkam clear to people. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Taqwa is the core of as-siyam. The reason Allah wants us to do siyam, some people would be telling you that, we are siyam just so we can feel with the poor people and we can, it's not. Of course, it's part of it, for rich people. But what about poor people? They still have to fast, and they have to feel with poor people too. They know that feeling already. It is a taqwa. It is self-control. It is like listening to Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is like setting a lifestyle, not only through fasting, it's supposed to be in all our life. So everything should have boundaries. Nothing is without boundaries. Otherwise, we won't be we would be acting different than humans. So the self-control is something that very important, and a taqwa that relates to a taqwa, subhanallah, this is the core of not only as-siyam, of many ibadat. طيب, inshallah. I hope this don't give me a hard time. It is. Bismillah. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Now another hukam here. So as you see, beginning of Surat Albaqara, we've been talking about al-kafirin and munafiqeen, and then al-yahud, and then it was very long ayat Allah set for us. And after Allah built that foundations of faith, now we come to the legislations. And that is very good thing to know, that when you raise your children, you don't tell them do and don't before you build that concrete and solid ground of faith and concrete relationship between you and them. So when you build this concrete relationship and then you start telling them this is halal and this is haram, they trust you, they love you, they would listen to you. They love Allah, they love Rasulullah. So they want to show them that commitment. But if they don't know Allah, they don't know Rasulullah, they don't have good relationship with them, they don't have good relationship even with you, how they're gonna listen to do and don't? In fact, they might do the opposite, because simply they don't have that relationship and they only see it as like taking their freedom away. So it's very important, subhanallah, this surah, in everything in it, there is a lesson. So after building that concrete and solid base of faith and of good parental relationship, you can start teaching them the halal and haram. Now another legislation here, Allah saying وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ, and do not consume one another's wealth unjustly. And al-batil here, falsehood, or as it says here in the translation, unjustly. وَتُدْلُوا بِهَا إِلَى الْحُكَّامِ. And the meaning is referring to the bribe that is giving to someone with authority. Al-Hukam, they could be judges, they could be rulers, they could be anybody who is in charge of authority. And I will go through the, subhanallah, the meaning behind every word, inshallah, after just telling you the entire meaning. لِتَأْكُلُوا فَرِيقًا مِّنْ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ. So in order to eat, and تأكلوا here is eat, or consume again. فَرِيقًا مِّنْ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ, a portion of people's money, بالإثم. بالإثم يعني by falsehood. Or الإثم is in haram ways, doing that in haram ways, unlawful ways. وأنتم تعلمون, and while you know it is a sin. طيب, Allah is referring to أمواله. الأموال are the properties. Everything that we benefit from, we own, and we benefit from is considered أموال. If we, some translation would tell you money. Yes, of course, money, because money buy all of those, like the properties, the estates, the cars, the phones, food and drink is the most number one thing that people buy with money. And Allah is saying amwalakum, your money, your money. So Allah is talking to the person, referring to his own money. How he's gonna eat it unjustly? But Allah is saying it in plural, your money. So my and your money. So Allah is putting us all together and telling us that this money is your money. What does that mean? It means like your money is mine. I have to deal with your money, take care of your money, just like I take care of mine. That doesn't mean I can use it as I use mine. No, I can, like, if I'm afraid that I take all measures for my money not to be stolen and to be protected and to be saved in certain ways, I have also to consider doing that to your own money, because we are brothers and sisters. That's how Allah Azza wa Jal is saying that. And if I consider your money is mine and you consider my money is yours, then we will be taking care of each other and protecting each other properties. As if it's like a responsibility Allah is putting on our shoulders, that if I see someone is stealing your money, I have to do some measures. I have to come and tell you. I have to warn you. If you are absent and I live beside you and I see robbers, I have to call the police. I have to take some measures, something like that. So Allah Azza wa Jal is saying amwalakum, referring to like the properties are all, it's not that I own your property, no, but I have to deal with your property the same way that I deal with my property. If I fear damage for my property, I have to fear damage for your property, and vice versa. And why Allah is using ta'kulu, and al-akil here is eating. How people can eat properties? Yani subhanallah, of course not. Have you ever seen people like having like a bill of $100 and they're eating it? Of course not. A property like a house and they're eating it? Of course not. But because the main thing that we use money for is food and drink, subhanallah, and it is necessity, Allah Azza wa Jal used that verb. But that means don't consume, not necessarily don't eat, but the exact meaning to the word is do not eat, and the overall meaning is do not consume. And Allah is saying bil batil, and here is wrongfully or unjustly, or al batil usually is the falsehood. We have to be aware and away from using someone else's money wrongfully. And there are some examples on how people can consume the money or the properties or the wealth wrongfully. So like I'm gonna give you a few examples here. Al-Qimar, which is gambling. This is one of the ways, and the lottery is part of it. Al-Khida', by deceiving. Al-Ghasub, by forcing. You take a garment, or you take money, or you take any like good by forcing the other person. Also, if somebody has an amana with you and then you decline it, this is one of the examples. Or like something that we called al-haya. Al-haya, a person doesn't want to sell that house, for an example, or that car, and you keep like using that emotional methods with him until he sell it to you out of shyness, or like he doesn't know what else to do, but he doesn't want to sell that garment. This is also considered, Rasulullah have said, ما أخذ بسيف الحياء فهو حرام. Whatever was taken by the sword of shyness, it is haram. So like if I take something from you while you, I just, with the nice words, and I know you don't want to give it, then this is haram. SubhanAllah. So those are like few examples of of al-batil, taking the money. Of course, stealing and confiscating. So there are many different ways. Bribery. This is also wrongfully taking, unjustly taking using the money. And that was Allah Azza wa Jal is referring to the bribery alone here. وَتُدْلُوا بِهَا إِلَى الْحُكَّامِ. Tudlu, this verb means we usually use it with bringing the bucket into the well from top to bottom. And this here, subhanAllah, a very beautiful like picture Allah Azza wa Jal drew in this sentence, that al-hukam are sitting down, and those people who want to bribe them are up and bringing that bribe down, as if they're taking that bucket into the well down. But whoever is sitting down is more humiliated than the person who is sitting up. So yes, you are hukam, you are in authority, but because you are receiving the bribe, you are little. Allah is belittling them by using this verb, وَتُدْلُوا بِهَا إِلَى الْحُكَّامِ. So ad-dalu is the bucket, and usually ad-dalu is used with a rope that comes down and up, and that's as if like you're putting the money in this dalu, in this bucket, and bring it down to al-hukam. And subhanallah, this is very humiliating picture. Yes, you are in authority and people supposed to respect you and look up to you, yet they are looking down at you. And who is looking down at you? People, even the very bad quality people, not the good people, the bribers. So it's very subhanallah, unique picture here, Allah Azza wa Jal. So, and why you're giving this bribe to people in authority? To help you steal someone's money. So subhanallah, wrongfully, sinfully, and so this ayah here is talking about how to deal with money, and it is referring to how haram is to take someone's money. Allah started with la here. It is negation, and we call it in Arabic la an-nahiya. That means prevention. So we refrain from doing that. And who is refraining us, ordering us? Allah Azza wa Jal is putting this order. We pay money for judges sometimes just to side with us and to not convict us, or to give us part of someone's land. Let's say two people went to the judge one is claiming, and subhanallah, this ayah happened when two Sahaba came to Rasulullah. One of them is Abdan, his name is Abdan. And he bought a property from another Sahabi, his name Imru al-Qais. And Imru al-Qais declined that he received the money and he doesn't want to give him the land. And then Abdan was like talking to Rasulullah and telling him about it. And Imru al-Qais was very like, he didn't change, and yet he offered to swear, and to take an oath that this land is still his, and he did not receive any money. At that moment, this ayah revealed on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when Rasulullah read it, Amru al-Qais admit that yes, he got the money, he received the money, the price of this land, and this land now is for Abdan radiallahu anh. So and he was about to swear falsely. And subhanallah, because we have to understand, yet they are Sahaba, but they are humans, and we are humans, we are even less than them. So we are maybe this ayat should be even stronger on our ears. They had Rasulullah between them and we don't. So that's why Rasulullah has a hadith when he said, like, maybe you will come and tell me your complaint or your case, and then I would judge based on what I hear from you. And maybe you have a better tongue than the other party. وَلَعَلَّ بَعْضَكُمْ أَنْ يَكُونَ أَلْحَنَ بِحِجَّتِهِ مِنْ بَعْضٍ. أَلْحَنَ, he has better, his words, he can choose his words nicely. And when Rasulullah is saying Al-Hana, that refers to some music. So it has some rhythm, which is like on the ear. It sounds like nice and it's convincing. But not necessarily that's the truth. Simply because he can put his, put a proof nicely, that doesn't make he is right. So Rasulullah is warning them. And then Rasulullah is saying, I would hear you, I would believe you, because you have a better proof than the other party. The other party couldn't say his proof as clear as you're saying it. So I would side with you, and I would convict the other party and side with you. Whatever I give you based on this judgment, if you take it, you're taking a piece of Jahannam. Allah is not going to hold Rasulullah responsible because he didn't figure out that this person is lying. And same are all judges. They would hear the case from the two parties, and based on that, he would say his hukam. But if his hukam was wrong, he did his best. But the one who's taking the money falsely, sinfully, Rasulullah is saying, فَإِنَّمَا أَقْطَعُ لَهُ قِطْعَةً مِنْ جَهَنَّمْ, as if I'm cutting a piece of Jahannam for him. So be aware. That's how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam warned his Sahaba. So some people would collect the money, or their main source of money is coming from haram sources, like selling, for an example, liquors. That's another example that we didn't say here. Or as we mentioned, gambling, or like from bribes, or so those people would take it and they would give sadaqat from it. Allah would not accept that. Not at all. Allah will never accept that. But now let's say a person who is who used to take money, wants to make tawbah. He feels guilty and he wants to make tawbah. Is there a tawbah for this person? Of course, there is always a tawbah. Allah Azza wa Jalla opened the door always. But how they do the tawbah? Do they sit in their room and say Astaghfirullah al-Azim and they go to make Umrah and Hajj and that's it? Of course not. That would not take the sin away. There is a way for this kind of, because you took garments from people and you took it false, by force or by unlawful way. So you have to give the garment back. You have to give that money back. So let's say siblings, after their parents died, so one of them didn't give his siblings their share of the money that his father left. He should take that share and give it back to his brother or his sister or all of his siblings. It depends on who didn't get his share. Give it back and ask for forgiveness. So he should give it back. And then he asked that, please forgive me because I've been like, I took it for a long time and this is not my right to take it. Let's say his sister died and he can't give her that money. He should give it to her children or those people who inherit her. Let's say there was nobody, she has no children, then he should take that amount of money and pay it as sadaqah for her. Or those people who used to take bribery from people, and this is very, I can tell you in poor countries, it is, and in countries with, which has dictatorship, it is always, the case when you do any paperwork. So they take bribery from people just in order to make the paperwork fast and quickly, or illegal paperwork to make it legal. So now, because he was taking bribery from almost everybody and he doesn't know them, he does not have their contact, and they are too many, what should he do? What is what he can do? So subhanallah, he has to try to calculate how much he got from haram, and then he should spend it on Muslims projects. That is the only way to for him to be able to make the tawbah. Let's say that person, after he was taking that bribes and he decided to make tawbah, but now he has no money. What should he do then? So he would do his best, like he keeps some money for his food and drink, for his necessity, and everything else he has every month, he has to take it and give it sadaqah, asking Allah for forgiveness. Inshallah, if he was, if a person is sincere in his tawbah and he's doing his best, Allah would accept it. So dealing with properties and wealth is very delicate in Islam. We have to be very careful with that. Then Allah is saying now here another hukum, يسألونك عن الأهلة. And what is al-ahilla? Al-ahilla is, it's a plural for al-hilal. Al-hilal is the crescent, the moon, when it is at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. So it is part of the moon, that crescent that we see at the beginning or at the end of the month. So the Sahaba came to Rasulullah asking him, Ya Rasulullah, why this moon is different in shape and size through 29 or 30 days? And then Rasulullah explained it to them, and he said, قُلْ هِيَ مَوَاقِيتُ لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ. Al-mawaqit are times. So this is like indication of like a period of time. So you know what to do. What is لِلنَّاسِ وَالْحَجِّ? So why we use this mawaqit? Why we need to know the time? The month of Ramadan, we only can know when it starts by looking at the hilal. The Hajj, we only know by the beginning of Dhul Hijjah by the hilal. The iddah, the woman, whether she's a widow or she's a divorced woman, and al-iddah is the waiting period for the widow or the divorced woman before she can get married again, remarry again. That is al-iddah. We only can indicate that also by al-hilal, by knowing the month. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave us those 29, 30 days as period of time that we can calculate our matters based on that. Al-Ashhur al-Haram, the sacred month, we can also know it from Al-Hilal. Of course, Al-Eid and other stuff, subhanallah. The menstruation of every month for a woman could be indicated by that. So all of those worships is related to the moon, and that's how we calculate. The lunar calendar is very important in Islam. We use the other calendar, of course, because it is like internationally used, and we use it for our businesses, taxes and all of that. But when it comes to our ibadat, we follow the lunar calendar, and that's why it's very important to teach our kids about it. And if they can memorize the month in order, it would be great for them as well. They have to know what year we are now in, what Hijri year, because that indicates how many years the Prophet ﷺ made the Hijrah from Mecca to Al-Medina, and that is the base of our calendar. So Allah is saying, وَلَيْسَ الْبِرَّ بِأَن تَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهَا. It is not the righteousness that you can come back to your home from the back of your home. What is that? So some tribes, including Quraysh, when they make Hajj, they used to come, they don't enter their homes back from the front door, they come from the fences, from the back doors. And they think they are like dirty, and it's better to come back, to enter their homes from the back of their homes. ظهورها is the back of, which is like the backyard or the back fence. So Allah is saying this is not like righteousness. Enter your homes from the main doors. The righteousness now here, Allah Azza wa Jal is telling them what is the righteousness. The righteousness is التقوى ولكن البر من اتقى, who is like after the Hajj was steadfast on taqwa. وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا, just come from the front doors. Then Allah referring once more to التقوى. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So التقوى comes and leaving al-haram and doing the al-halal, making al-fara'id on time, listening to Allah Azza wa Jal's orders, taking care of their household, being merciful with them. All of that is at-taqwa. So whenever you finish the manasik al-hajj, you finish all of the fara'id al-hajj, and that is very tiring, of course. And don't think that was at-taqwa. At-taqwa is to continue following the orders of Allah Azza wa Jal and being on the right path. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, and al-falah is success. So to be successful. Anything that I want to say here? The last ayah for today is another legislation. Allah is saying, وَقَاتِلُوا. قَاتِلُوا is command. You will be surprised when this ayah was revealed. It was revealed way after the first revelation come, 13, 14 years after the first revelation. And before that, fighting was prohibited. And I would say prohibited, and I would just frame it, and I would put it in uppercase. It was prohibited. What was the orders before? I will give you a few examples, a few ayat. So before Hijrah, it was prohibited. While they were in Mecca, it was prohibited. They were like considering the population of Mecca, the Muslims were just few number. And yes, they were under a tremendous amount of torture, but Allah Azza wa Jal prohibited them from fighting. So the ayat before Hijrah was idfa billati hiya ahsan. Idfa yani push with good deeds. Try to mend things with good deeds. So Allah is using the positive approach with those non-believers who are torturing Muslims still. So that was the first thing. Then in different ayah, wa'fu wasfah, and forgive them. Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. Indeed, Allah loves those who يعني comply with ihsan. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. And when you want to argue with them and tell them more about Islam, بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, with the method that is better than fighting, which is talking. And al-jidal usually is by tongue. It's an argument. And here بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, Allah is referring to the argument to be nice and calm. Also, Allah is saying, فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. Now you've done your best telling them and inviting them. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, if they turn, they reject the risala, they reject the message of Allah. فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. All you have to do is to convey the message. That's it. Nothing more. Then when the torture increased, Allah said, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الجَّاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. And when those ignorant talk to them, of course, how they used to talk to them? They used to talk to them in a very violent way. The language and the way they dealt with them, it was very violent. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ, what they answer, they say salam, peace. That's it, subhanallah. And in different ayah, لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُصَيْطِرٍ, you have no authority upon them. All you have to do is to convey the message. That was all before Hijrah. Subhanallah, looking at those examples, it is so interesting. They were weak. Let's imagine they came out to fight. Were they able to win any fight? Of course not. So alhamdulillah that Allah made it prohibited. Otherwise, those few Muslims, the few few Muslims who came at the beginning and who became later on the base, the foundation of the Islamic state, otherwise they were killed by then. And then Allah Azza wa Jal also exhausted all of the positive ways with conveying a da'wah. But now they have their own state. So Dawlat al-Islam is there. And have you ever seen a state or a country without an army? Nobody would even care to respect its right. So a country without an army is inviting people to come and invade it. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he came to Al-Madinah and the Islamic state in Al-Madinah started, then he had an army. Why? Not necessarily to fight, just as a form of protection. So subhanallah. And this ayah too has a reason for revelation. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the Qa'dah, the 6th year, he really longed to make Umrah. He longed to Mecca and Al-Kaaba, and he decided to go. So he went with his Sahaba, and then the people of Quraysh, the non-believers, prevented them from coming into Mecca, and he had to make Sulh al-Hudaybiyah treaty, and Sahaba were extremely upset, subhanallah. Why they were upset? They longed to Al-Kaaba too, and then they felt they are humiliated once more. Now we are strong, we are many in number, numerous, yet now we are humiliated and we cannot go make Umrah. And subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal wanted that to happen for a reason. In Mecca, there were many Muslims hiding their Islam, if they come to see Rasulullah making Umrah, they would be showing their identity and they might be killed. And one of them is Al-Abbas, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and many, many more. So they were hiding their Islam, but they couldn't leave Mecca to Al-Madinah for many other reasons. We remember at the Al-Hudaybiyah Treaty how Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab was very angry when Rasulullah told everybody to break their Umrah by cutting their hair, and they didn't. And then he came into the tent where Salama radiallahu anha was in, and he asked her, Halak al-Muslimun, they destroyed themselves. The Muslims are destroying themselves by not listening to Allah. What do you advise me to do? Then Salama radiallahu anha said, you just go out and call your barber, ask him to shave your hair. And when they see you shaving your hair, they will do the same. And that what happened, subhanallah, and they came next year for Umrah, but next year, it was much better, subhanallah, until also the 9th year of Hijrah, where Al-Fatah, they conquered Mecca again. But and they conquered it, yes, with an army, but they did not fight. Alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jal made it easier without a fight. So fighting, Allah Azza wa Jal here is prohibiting. So why this ayah was revealed? Because as-Sahaba wanted to go and fight, but the fight in this case wasn't the right idea. But Allah is, they wanted to fight. Now it is for personal reasons more than religious reasons. And fighting for personal reasons is prohibited. When Allah said the fighting, Allah said it for the sake of Allah. There must be a good reason, a communal, religious reason that is that approved. Allah approved al-qital during that. We have to understand that this is the very first ayah revealed about al-qital, about fighting. And it came here, Allah is saying, Alladina, you fight, those who fight you. You don't start any fight. So this is the key. We do not start any fight. But if somebody is fighting us, we are strong enough to fight them, and inshallah to win. And then Allah, not only that, He made it clear that you only fight those who are fighting you. Then Allah said, وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا, do not transgress. And do not exceed the limits, do not exceed the boundaries, because Allah do not like those transgressors. So very important ayah, subhanallah. The next ayah, next time, inshallah, it tells a lot. It was always used out of its context, and where enemies of Islam were accusing Muslims with violence. We have to understand this ayah from the context of the seerah, when it was revealed and why, and we can look at similar cases then. But today, inshallah, I will stop here. اللهم لك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا ملء السماوات والأرض وما فيهن وملء كل شيء بعد. أهل الثناء والمجد، أهل أنت أن تحمد وأهل أنت أن تعبد. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا وإلى غيرك لا تكلنا. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا ويسر الهدى إلينا، واجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إلينا. اللهم ارزقنا علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا وعملا متقبلا يا أرحم الراحمين. ونسألك علم الخائفين منك وخوف العالمين بك. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله، والحمد لله رب العالمين.